Hello and welcome to IASPrimers. You're welcome to a very short and crisp video for Integrated Child Development Scheme as well as the Anganwadis. Now, this is a very important theme for civil service aspirants or anybody who's concerned about the society as well. This scheme is something that you will be studying in your books for Indian economy like Ramesh Singh, right? You would be referring to this particular scheme when you're writing your answer as to what the government is doing for the welfare of the children or the mother. So this is a very important topic, and we can expect a direct question for mains aspect. For instance, a question could be asked as to examine the main provisions of the ICDS, and then it asks you about the implementation of this scheme. In fact, a similar question was asked in 2016 with reference to something else. And which paper? General Studies 2. Now you might think that this is coming in a book, you are learning about this from the point of view of socio-economy, something about society as well, right? Betterment of the life of the child and the mother. Well, this comes under General Studies 2. It is part of the governance section because it is what the government is doing for the marginalized sections, for the vulnerable sections. So it is from that point of view that we have to look at it. So this is the syllabus part. I shared a question with you, and keep that in mind when we are studying this particular topic. Now let's come to my blank slate that we have now. So first of all, if I talk about this integrated child development scheme, it's about development of the child, making the quality of the life better of the child as well as the mother who's concerned with the child. So first thing that we need to look at is what is holistic development of a child. Remember, the name of the scheme is Integrated Child Development. So before moving forward, let's see what is holistic development of a child. What parameters would we count? Imagine some baby is there in your house, very small infant, right? And you see, okay, fine, this person doesn't know anything. It's very important to give him the right nutrition so that the person grows. The baby grows into a full, well-developed being and does well in the society, right? That is something that should come to you, something that you can imagine. And when we talk about it, right, from the child, we talk from the point of view of milestones. A person speaks the first words. Person recognizes things around, right? Tries to solve problems. So factoring in all of this, that tells us about the holistic development, and it is from multiple point of views. So we'll look at the parameters. So it is believed that the age group from 0 to 6 years is something which is very crucial. Person is actually ingraining things at this point of time, and everything is all input is there rather than the output. So this is the formative age, and it is believed that this is the time period where a child achieves the maximum number of milestones. So this is a very crucial age. And what could be the holistic development over here? So the first thing is language. A person does not know, when the person is born, does not know language. The family speaks, right? They speak, they tell him about the stories. The person knows about the values, the moral system, all of this. So first thing is language. Then it is the development of the cognitive abilities. So language only tells a person as to how to communicate with the fellow beings. Other thing is the cognitive. A person's ability to solve problems, problem solving thing, reasoning ability, solving arithmetics, cognitive abilities over here. Then how does a person interact with the social as well as the emotional environment that a person is part of? So how does a person manage the social relationship? Some people are socially awkward like me, maybe, right? Some people are very friendly, some people are introverts, some person is extrovert, right? So this is different, and something must have influenced it. Probably it is this. And then obviously something about the physical aspects. For instance, when we read the paper, we hear about the terms like the child is wasted. Wasted means a person's weight is less than, for its age, it is less, right? So a person is very thin and slender. Or a person has very low height as compared for his age. So stunting is there. A person's hand-eye coordination, motor skills. So all of this are part of the physical aspect over here. So when we talk about the holistic development of the child, we are talking about the physical side as well as the physical health, psychological aspects, mental aspects. All of this are covered in the holistic aspect or holistic development of a child. And naturally, holistic development shall come with an integrated approach, right? Yes, we are heading towards integrated child development. So we need an integrated approach over here. So we need to look from multiple perspectives. For instance, it is not just nutrition, person gains height, gains the physical strength, the cognitive ability. Nutrition is one end. So if malnutrition is there, naturally these attributes will be lesser. But what if a child falls ill? What if a child got diarrhea at the very, very early age? So that would lead to the weakness weakness in the body. Or a person has polio. So maybe we can give a good amount of vaccinations, preventable diseases can be avoided at least. Then the focus on the infant mortality rate. The child is dying at a very, very early age. Sometimes it also leads to the death of the mother as well, maternal mortality rate. So many of the times, these are things that can be prevented if hygienic conditions are provided, timely medication is provided. We have gone well ahead in our times today. So we can deal with such situations. Then how about the cognitive and the language? That will come with not just with the school. So the child, when he goes to the school, it takes some number of years. So before that, some informal education has to be given, right? The parents keep talking to the child, or they send the child to the preschool. They tell them fables and the moral stories. So informal education is again very, very important, and it paves way for the school education and further helps develop the cognitive abilities of the child. And yes, when we talk about integrated approach, how can we leave aside the mother? Because the mother is the first point or first touch the child has with any human being. So mother-child relationship is very, very important. So even when we talk about infant mortality rate, when we talk about nutrition, it starts with the breastfeeding, right? So it's said that from 0 to 6 months, this duration, it is the breastfeeding, then the nutrition. Mother knows his child very well, his or her child very, very well, right? His is not possible. So these are the things that needs to be done. And in our scenario that we live in, we need an integrated approach. We have we need an intervention actually, because in our country we have poverty, we have lack of awareness about things. We do not have the means when it comes to informal education, and therefore there is a need for an intervention. And it was realized that, we have multiple schemes, but we need an integrated approach towards child development. So you can just read these things and you can see the objectives of the scheme. The scheme was introduced in 1975 and it is part of the Ministry of Women and Child Development. But yes, when I talk about the health care and the immunization program, so part of it goes to different ministries, but overall this is an umbrella scheme under Ministry of Women and Child. So this includes all the aspects over here: nutrition and health status from the age group of 0 to 6 years. Now this is something that you need to keep in mind for prelims. So to lay the foundation for proper psychological, physical, social development of the child, to achieve effective coordination of policy and implementation amongst various departments, that's for the government to see, right? And for normal health and nutritional needs. Now again, come back to what we talked about, the holistic development of a child. And doesn't it cover all the points over here? So it looks from multiple perspectives over here. And where will this ICDS be provided? So imagine a rural household, rural place. So what is the most convenient thing to do? So maybe a courtyard outside the house, maybe an angan outside the house where a group of people can come together, right? So people are there around. You can see this place over here. This is in Tamil Nadu, and you can see that very close to it the houses. So this is the Anganwadi center. This is like a courtyard. This is a shed kind of a thing. An open area is there where the children can come play. There is a closed environment over here. And you can see that this place is here where the child is getting some meal is being provided, right? Some basic meal is getting provided. Here the Anganwadi worker is providing with some sort of informal education. The thing that I might be blocking over here, you can see the child, they're trying to teach the child using toys and more innovative ways over here. Because obviously the children you can't be very bookish, right, like a class. But yes, we can use certain other means have to be used to teach the children. So this is a typical example of what happens in an Anganwadi center, and you see how a lot of images are being used to teach the children over here. So this is the place where, it acts as a junction. It acts as a junction where the children come, where the people come, and it is this place where all the things, all the facilities can be provided at a very, very early age, and maybe also awareness about nutrition. What is the right nutrition? Pregnant and the lactating mothers are part of the scheme, and they can be provided the basic inputs over here. Immunization camps can be done. So all of this takes place at the Anganwadi center, or at least it sets the ground or the base work for any other thing to be done. And naturally the people working there would be called as Anganwadi workers. So I hope you know the meaning of Angan now, right? Okay. Now we have if we look at the question again, examine the main provisions of the ICDS, and why do we need it? You know this also, right? So how does it come into existence? And we had this short image that you saw of the ICDS. You saw how Anganwadi works also. Now the thing is, this scheme is so good. Why is it that we find a lot of problems? There are still a lot of challenges in our society, right? So some of the issues in implementation. So you can start by just writing a line or two that, quite recently Global Hunger Index was released, and it told us that the outcomes in terms of dealing with the malnutrition, in terms of wasting and stunting, has come down. Then quite recently National Family Health Survey, if you are watching it in future, now it is National Family Health Survey 5, which provides data till 2018, and it said that, malnutrition has increased, dropout rates are increasing, anemia in women and girl child is again increasing. So there are certain things that needs to be addressed, that needs to be rectified. So it's like a wake-up call. So if everything is functioning well, why do we have this problem? Right? That means something needs to be done. Then, to the government's credit, from the period of 2014 to 2018, we have the pandemic, so just exclude that. Maternal mortality rate, right? The mother dying because after pregnancy, maternal mortality, and infant mortality rate, they have improved quite significantly, but still it is quite bad. It's quite poor if we compare it with other countries. It's still very poor. And ICDS was to deal with such situations. It's not happening. Then when the child goes to the school, presently we have almost achieved universal, you leave apart the pandemic, but we have universal enrollment for both the boys as well as the girls. Universal means for everybody. But still we have high dropout rates. What does it mean? Maybe the cognitive skills, the cognitive aspect was not developed enough, and they are not able to cope up with the educational outcomes. And how do we know this? Well, there is an annual survey on education report that is conducted by Pratham, ASER report, and you will come across this when you're reading the newspapers. So these are certain things that tell us not all is well. So something needs to be looked into with the functioning of the ICDS and who's executing the ICDS. Yes, many ministries are there, many departments are there, but at the bottom, at the end of it, it is the Anganwadis. And we need to know what are the issues with the Anganwadis over here. So a survey was done, and it said, see, the Anganwadi workers have lack of knowledge. So even the basic knowledge like washing the hands or hygienic conditions, or for breastfeeding for the child from 0 to 6 months, that wasn't there. And it is believed that Anganwadis are the primary source of information when it comes to nutrition. And in fact, for many of the children, with the schools being closed due to the pandemic, midday meal is not there. So Anganwadi is playing a very important role. Right now, again, there is a reopening thing is taking place. But yes, they play a very, very important role over here. So lack of knowledge amongst the workers. Then many of them are burdened with administrative responsibilities. See, their work is to provide for holistic development of the child, provide for healthcare, nutrition, informal education, engage with the children. But as per a survey, it was found that 10% of their work actually goes to this integrated approach, and the rest of the work is towards the administrative component. So this is very, very poor. This is very bad. And then when we look at the infrastructure side, for instance, the availability of hygienic seating to be there, or availability of a shed, right, whatever. So that infrastructure is very, very poor in rural areas as well, and urban areas it is even worse. So this needs to be looked into. And you know what? You will see people protesting, Anganwadi workers or Asha workers, you will say that they are raising demands for payments to be given to them. So this is again one area. If the payments are not there, if the incentives are not being provided, then the things are not going to be good, because employees have to be, they are not employees, but yes, people, if they get incentives, they have to look after their family as well at the end of the day. So that aspect also needs to be looked into. So what can be done? First of all, improved career incentives, higher budgetary allocation. What is the budgetary allocation for healthcare? Very poor. What is the budgetary allocation for education? Very poor. So something that this needs to be improved, and Anganwadi workers play a very, very important role at that. So this needs to improve, and more allocations need to be done. Timely and regular payments should be given. Many of them have to protest and then they get a payment. In fact, if you look at the ICDS website, if you go there, the screenshot that I shared was from ICDS. You will see that it says that monthly payments are given as and when required. That means it is not given. So this is the part that needs to be seen. Then in Tamil Nadu, what they have done, South is doing excellent. So linking of Anganwadis with schools. Given the fact that at the end of it, when there may be a scarcity of infrastructure, at the end of it, what we need is that the child is going to go to the school, cognitive, language. So why not integrate or converge the two things altogether? So linking of Anganwadi with schools has shown great potential, great scope for future development. Then what can be done is, if we are seeing certain issues over here, if we see that some people are not enrolling and coming to the Anganwadis, what we really need to know is make the people aware. So a proactive approach is needed, where we reach out to the women, especially during the pregnancy time, because this is the time that the cycle starts. And the mother also needs care. We need to deal with the MMR also. So reaching out to the women during pregnancy, during survey, ensuring that she gets the right health care at the very onset, that this is the way forward, right? So these are the things that needs to be looked into to deal or correct the issues with the Anganwadis, right? So this basically concludes my analysis video on ICDS. So now again, let's look at the question. Examine the main issues or main provisions of the Integrated Child Development Scheme and highlight the issues with its implementation, right? So now let's see if you are able to write this question or not. Right then, so this is it. So thank you for streaming in to IASPrimers with me, Shubhashish Singh Rehal. Bye bye, take care and all the best.